Welcome, everyone. It's a new year, and there's a new variant on the loose. We've been stuck in our bunker for several months now, and there's no sign of it letting up. But I'm here with my co-host,
Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I'm here with my co-host,
Striped Pencil Dick.
Anyway, we're here with a new variety of topics. This is like an ad read for like our podcast. This is what we put on to like someone else's podcast as an ad break where we go like...
You say variety of topics, but I think we're going to be covering some of the same ground again.
I think that's what we do. I think that's what this is.
Yeah, and I'm not talking like there's no callback jokes here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just literally saying that we're pretty consistent people, and there might be a new thing every once in a while.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do have a script that we follow.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I was going to actually bring that up afterwards, but since I already spoiled that there's a script, you didn't follow the script at the beginning?
Yeah, what was the script?
At the beginning, the script at the top, you have it right there next to you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Wait, this is written in the script.
Yeah,
Wait,
this part.
This is kind of meta.
We can't go back. We can't. Look, man, it happened last time. We got out of it.
Yeah.
All right? We can't talk about it or
That's
we go
true.
back in.
Yeah, anybody listening to these subsequently will realize that we've been trapped in the meta. It's not actually real. Instead of this being reality, we now exist in Kali Yuga. That is the cataclysmic end, full of sin and degeneracy. Nothing is going to persist except for our souls, which have been marred and tainted by the sands of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's poetic.
And now to our first topic.
Ad reads.
Ad reads.
We don't have any of those.
No, we have an ad read, don't we? There's a product. There has to be something you want to shill.
Do I want to shill something?
I don't know.
Okay, wait a second. All right, we can skip ahead because usually we do this in the middle.
Yeah.
But I did bring food once again.
Oh, okay.
The people who don't like chewing on the podcast, which there's probably at least one out of the 13 views that we got so far. One person hates the chewing.
I don't think most people like ASMR chewing, but this is a perfect way to open it. You might as well just start with the food.
All right, here we go. All right, so this is our sponsor then.
Hey, we're only going to sponsor them if they're good, bro.
This is a crisp. All right, so these are Cookwees.
Okay.
Do you like shortbread? Cookies?
Yeah, I like.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
These are shortbread cookies. They are Hawaii made.
Okay.
They come from Hawaii, from very far away. Or very near, depending on where we're at.
Okay. Are you sure it's Hawaii or is it New Zealand? Because aren't they like Maui? Or is there Maui people in Hawaii too? I don't know.
There's the island of Maui.
Are they just Polynesians? Is that where? I don't know.
Wait a second.
I don't know about the Indian, bro.
Hawaii is a state.
Yeah, sorry. I felt like Cookwees was like a reference to kiwi. That's why I thought it was maybe a New Zealand thing.
No.
Here, let's just try this.
No, so anyways, they come from Maui.
Okay.
The island in Hawaii.
Oh.
It's like a province within, right? You have, different islands are named different things in Hawaii. It's not just one island. Anyways, so these ones are we have the coffee macadamia nut ones. You're not allergic to macadamia nuts, are you?
I'm gonna find out.
So, yeah, let's just.
They're really dry. But they're pretty good.
It's part of the fun.
I think you can hear how dry that is.
Yeah. I think they're meant, I don't know. Shortbread to me, like, I need it to be dry. I don't want a moist cookie in my mouth. These with a cup of coffee in the morning, very good.
They seem like they would dissolve in water.
Yeah, if you dunk them in milk, you have like 5 seconds. So
honestly, I like the coffee flavor in it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty solid. Very dry, but the sugar offsets the dryness.
Yeah. It melts in your mouth even though it's really dry.
Yeah, that is a really good way of describing it.
If you want to know, be my guest.
Yeah, I'll probably have one in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure we weed out all the people who don't like chewing.
The weaklings, you mean?
Yeah. Those who don't persist.
Yeah. So, anyway, sponsor.
Yeah.
Cookwees, thank you for sponsoring this.
I'm sorry I don't know literally anything about Hawaiians or Polynesian culture, but I promise I'll make it up to you. It is white man's burden. So,
Yeah.
take of it what you will.
So, after the last episode, that was a banger, all right?
Yeah, this one has to be the downfall. Hey, you know the last episode was a fucking banger, and you know I didn't put it on 18 plus, and guess how many views we got?
I know, even less.
We got 4 views, baby.
Really? Did you check today?
I did. I checked today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because, you know, I wanted to make sure that if we have anybody that sends us emails, that, like, we pull them out and read them. But no, we don't have any. So
do we have any emails?
No, as far as I know, none.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's okay, though, because I was already going into this with the idea that, you know, we're doing it for ourselves.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
I just want to get, for me, right?
Yeah.
I just have a lot of random ideas and junk, and, like, I want to talk about certain things or whatever. And I've always wanted a podcast. I think that was that happened in the first episode,
Yeah.
right? So...
Well, you got too genuine there, so I wanted to say that we're doing this in a bunker, fighting off zombies, hordes of zombies, of people that can't think for themselves, that have lost God and become secular, and instead follow the whims of whatever the winds of change bring them on the colorful TV screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, there's a few other people that are living in other bunkers, and we're connected via sewer.
That's true. Yeah.
And so, just to give you guys, like, a picture of what's going on, every so often we'll receive a letter through the sewer in, like, in a bottle, right? Yeah. It floats down, alerting us to the orgies that we're going to have in the other bunker. So, what me and my co-host, George Strait, Pencil Dick, whatever you want to call him, have to go use our sewer cart to ride on over to the other bunker, where we have orgies. As it ends up, there's only men alive. Yeah,
so our idea of propagating the earth with a new population of the master race turns out does not work. Instead, it's just a bunch of men.
I was still horny.
Yeah.
What can I say?
If there's a will, there's a way. That's what they always say.
That's right. Yeah.
Speaking of riding on top of the sewer rats to get to the other man's bunkers, I would like today to talk about a bit of religious symbolism amidst a reawakening of man. Okay. You know, in these hard times, when there's no women around, you have to learn to become self-sufficient.
That's right.
So now, I gotta preface this with my philosophy, because I believe more and more as I read more and more stuff that everyone in this world has a purpose, that their body and their brain are made for a specific purpose, and it is their goal or their duty sometimes to figure out how to achieve this purpose. So when you look at yourself in the mirror and you consider your thoughts and the quality of those thoughts, I want you to remember how I am beginning to find my purpose when I tell this story.
Yeah.
So, to give you a little bit of information, I am nearsighted, so I didn't really think I was going to do anything that required farsightedness. I have a hearing deficiency. I'm hearing impaired and wear hearing aids, so I didn't expect to go into music or anything like that, but maybe in the last episode you can see I'm not that horrible at it if I continue at it. The third thing is that I have a genetic deformity wherein I'm missing ribs on the side of my stomach, on both sides. And in a bout of curiosity, I realized something, and I think it's the ultimate purpose in life. I realized I can suck my own penis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that why, so you locked yourself in your room for, like, I was fighting off zombie hordes.
Yeah.
And you were just in there self-sucking.
Yeah. I was auto-fillating.
Do you know what Ouroboros is?
Yes, that is the religious
That's
symbolism.
you.
Yeah, no.
I already broke it.
No,
Damn it.
It's perfect. You're leading it right along. We're going to go along this train ride together, the journey of self-suck. So, I don't know why I never thought about it before. I get, like, people have made jokes about it, but I never thought I could do it. And it turns out I can do it. So, like, I can get a couple inches, maybe like an inch and a half. Like, not that much, but it's enough to get the sensation. And you know what? It's not as chalked up as it is. Like, it's not as good as a blowjob from somebody else. I think it's because there's the mental, like, idea that someone is, like submitting to you with the goal of pleasing you or whatever. So there's that, like, mentalness that makes it more attractive than it is.
Yeah.
But, so when you suck yourself, first off, even with my missing ribs, I'm not missing enough ribs so that it doesn't have a ton of back pain with it. Yeah. So, like, essentially, the process is you can do it until you feel like your neck is gonna break, or your back, because when you get up, you're gonna be permanently in, like, a C shape. From doing it,
like a cartoon.
And while I was doing it, I realized I'd kill two birds with one stone. And see what all the women are complaining about when they complain about tasting semen. Yeah. So to complete the Ouroboros, this beautiful bit of symbolism, my penis was the tail, and my mouth was the yonic symbol, the womb. Okay, in this cycle of life, my penis spurting the semen, and then my mouth receiving it as death. And then the rebirth of my balls producing more semen.
Using the old semen to create new. Yeah. I see.
Yeah. Wow. It was the exorcism of the old that brings about the new. And I have to say, semen does taste terrible. And the aftertaste lasts forever. I think like a day later, it was in my mouth, the taste of it.
You know how people like do that thing where they like suck on their teeth? Like you do that and you're like, ooh, oh.
Yeah, you're like, oh God. Yeah. Oh. So.
Well, so, I mean, they say if you eat like pineapple.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so I guess that's the subsequent test.
So now you got to keep doing more tests.
Yeah, I have to eat more pineapple. I have to do stretches to make sure that my back doesn't break. I feel like it would probably be, I would be testing something like this and then they would find me dead, is what I feel like would happen. That's what my purpose in life is. It's to tell you that I can suck my dick, and then it's to go try subsequent tests and then just die. And then be found dead.
What a life's purpose. I don't, I don't have that ability.
It's not worth it.
No?
It's not worth the back pain, and semen tastes horrible. And the only true way to save your energy from semen is through semen retention.
Yeah. Return to monk. Yeah. Literally monk.
Yeah, literally monk mode is what you want to do. You want to be as celibate as possible and never have a wet dream or an emission or anything.
Just never orgasm.
Yeah, that's the only true way to cultivate.
Unless you're going to procreate.
Yes, unless you're going to procreate.
Yeah.
In fact, when you're going to procreate, you're probably going to want to masturbate to get all that old semen out, to then ensure the new, which is stronger. And in the book, Montauk Chia's Cultivating the Male Sex Esoteric Art of Penis Kung Fu, whatever you want to call it. They talk a lot about rubbing your hands together vigorously until they're warm, and then there's a bunch of exercises that you can do to like rub your balls and your penis in a specific way to make sure that the production of semen is healthy and strong.
You rub your hands together and they're like, oh yeah, we know how to handle this signal.
It's the warmth, I think. Yeah, the friction. They even have exercises for Indian rug burning your penis to help with something. I don't know. I don't remember, honestly.
Are you sure like it wasn't like if you look at the author and rearrange the letters, it's not like lol or something like, I mean,
lol, gotcha. No, I don't think so. I think it's a real dude trying to sell some stuff. And to continue, so I don't really think, unless you have any questions about auto-fillating, that I can answer for you.
I mean, like, I was just about to bring up the fact that you have been talking about chastity.
Yeah.
And not coming.
Yeah.
For 2 episodes now?
Yeah.
And now this episode, you started off hot, quick, with some self-sucking.
So I realize that there is a lot of energy that you store up when you're doing semen retention. And unfortunately, that energy, if used wrongly, can manifest itself as you literally becoming the Ouroboros.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, it's okay.
Well, honestly, I do believe that everything in moderation is necessary.
Yeah.
But I also believe that the power that you get from semen retention can be utilized for a higher purpose.
Yes.
But I think it takes a lot of work to get to that point.
I think that if you had a higher purpose in mind and you had a specific goal, and you're like, this will help me. But then once the goal is finished, you go back to like whatever.
Yeah. Because I've been reading a lot about psychology and stuff like that, and I know Freud is like a crazy dude that did cocaine and had a lot of weird ideas about sexuality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do believe, and the people that followed after him also believe, that you can use the energy, sublimate it in a way. Like the sublimation of, you take the aspects of your personality that aren't societally acceptable. Like in this case, if you were somebody that had violent tendencies and had a lot of that energy, you could go into like football or something.
Yeah.
Or the example in the book I read, Dichotomies of Self, talked about, which had a reference to an older book in it, said that like a surgeon, a person who used to cut up animals and stuff, instead used that ability to become a surgeon because that was more helpful to society and productive. So I do believe that there's a way to sublimate these energies. I suppose I just have to figure out what that sublimation is and try not to go crazy in the process when I have all this pent-up energy. That,
Sigma male energy.
Yeah, male energy.
Yeah.
You radiate this aura from going monk mode, but you got to have a productive outlet for it. And even in the Montauk Chia's book, he talks a lot about how there has to be a balance between yin and yang energy. And if you constantly build up too much yang energy, then you're just gonna burst essentially.
I think last episode I used the big yang energy.
Yeah, big yang energy. An even more concise explanation is, which I think works really well in the tantric. I believe this is more neo-tantra stuff, but the summation that works perfectly is that male energy is about releasing for procreation, and female energy is about storing, because they obviously have to store a child and then give it the nutrients it needs to be able to have life, essentially. So if you can figure out a way to release that energy but not release it through semen, and instead channel it up your spine, behind the emerald pillow of the back of your head and into the heavenly crown, then you can truly achieve monk mode.
You can ascend.
Yeah. So I did want to mention that I briefly looked over the female version of Cultivating.
Oh, yeah.
Their
I was curious
secrets.
about this.
Yeah. And it is a lot of the same stuff. It just mixes, instead of testicular breathing, it's ovarian breathing. They have different strategies. But the most marked difference between it, at least in my cursory glance, I'll have to read a lot more, because there is a bunch of science in like what all the stuff is named and how all of it works, and all of this about menstrual cycles and etc. and how that process works. But one of the techniques that they can do to train themselves to better edge, essentially. Tantra is all about edging. It's just pro edging. If you want a summary, it's how to edge. So
for no
to stretch, to strengthen women's ability to edge and not orgasm, they recommend using like obsidian eggs, is what they call them, that are like an inch in diameter, and you put them up your vagina with a piece of dental floss to be able to pull them out. Like they have a hole in it, so they're tied or whatever. And then you have to do exercises where you essentially like compress, contract, pull it up, let it down. It's like doing weights, but with your vagina.
Isn't that Kegels?
It's kind of,
Isn't that like the
it's
official...
It might be, yeah. It might just be Kegels. I thought Kegels were something else, but I think it's just Kegels.
I think you can do Kegels without weight and with weight.
Okay.
So I think, like, realistically, yeah, you're just...
It's just Kegels.
Just doing Kegels.
Yeah, getting those pussy reps in.
Yeah. Dude, why can't we do cock reps?
Yeah, you can, actually. So, first off, one of the funny things...
Wait.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
In the first episode, this is a callback.
No,
I just need to do a quick callback really quick.
Callback.
We don't identify as genders.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to call back to that really quick. Just wanted to make sure... Because it seemed like you were talking to me.
Yeah, that's
about my gender.
You're right. Yeah,
and I don't do that to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
it's more fluctuating than we make it sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just at this moment you're this.
Yeah. I have an ankle bracelet that is blue, so you can use
those pronouns
if you want to.
Yeah.
But we're friends. I'll understand if you mess up or whatever. But
I mean, the Gestapo, they're a couple sewers down.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that there is actually a way to do weights. You just have to tie weights to a string and then contract your penis up and down.
It just sounds painful.
It does. I haven't done it, but I'll venture to try it before one of our podcasts.
How much weight?
I don't know. When I was reading the Montauk Chia book, they also have a recommendation for tongue exercises, and what they recommend is putting weight on a string and then like thrusting your tongue at it. Like you hold it above it, or like it's on the ceiling or something. Like a jar of sand.
It's like dingling.
Yeah, and then you like tongue punch it to gain reps. To strengthen yourself so that, if you're, as they call it, the jade stock isn't sharpened enough, then you have another weapon in your arsenal in the act of proving your love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine going to the gym doing some tongue reps.
Yeah, they should just have that up. I mean, not during this pandemic. But,
not right now, but
and then he also he made a mention to a funny thing, which I thought was great, and it helped me devise my new 5x5 exercise regime. Okay.
Oh boy.
So I think I'm gonna call this Sigma Male Grind. Okay.
Ooh.
Here's what I think. It's a 5x5 routine, so you do 5 sets of 5 reps. Okay. So the first, and it's gonna be 5 exercises. Okay. That help you become a Sigma male. Okay. So the first thing you got to do is you got to do 5 sets of 5 minutes pushing walls. Okay?
Oh,
That's the first step. Okay, because and then it's a push pull. So you're gonna do like 2.5 sets of push and 2.5 sets of pull. So if you're wondering how you pull a wall, you just pull the threshold of the door. And you can use your legs.
Just rip the door off the wall.
You gotta be able. Yeah, it's a push pull. Okay.
You gotta get a sturdy door.
Yeah, that's the first. That's the first exercise. Second exercise is to make you last longer in bed and overcome your premature ejaculation. I don't have any liability for suggesting this set, but you're gonna want to thrust into a bag of rice. 5 reps.
What does this do?
It desensitizes your penis.
I don't want to feel this thing anymore.
Yeah. If you don't have rice, you can use sand. Whatever grinds it down.
Raw?
Yeah. It's
like you just have your dick out.
Yeah.
And you're just
thrusting into
smashing a bag of rice.
Yeah, you got to do it with vigor, but without lacerations, because... I mean, if you get lacerations, then you'll have a callous penis, and then you'll never prematurely ejaculate again.
Yeah.
So that's the second exercise. The third exercise is edge for 5 hours.
In case your day wasn't busy enough, you now have to edge for 5 hours.
You have to cultivate your you have to channel it up the spine while you're doing it. And the
What are you going to follow this up with? Do you have to do this 5 times?
No, every good exercise regime has cardio, so you're going to want to do 5 minutes of high-intensity cardio.
Oh, okay. So the 5 hours of edging wasn't cardio enough.
No. That's just, that's the cultivating the right-hand edging path. So yeah, you want to do 5 minutes of cardio, and then the final one is usually a flex one, but if we're going to use it for penis and lengthening. So there's I don't know what school this hails from, probably just the modern Americans, but it's called jelqing. And so what you do is you stretch your penis in every direction so that eventually the muscle rips and grows back bigger. So you hold you fully erect, you hold it all the way to the right, hold that for as long as you can, and then hold it all the way left, and then pull it down all the way, and then all the way up, and then you just do that.
So this is every day?
Yeah, every day. Yeah, you know, if you just did 5 minutes of edging and 5 sets of 5 minutes, you could do that. But to be a true Sigma male, it has to be 5 hours.
5 hours. Yeah. It has to become your life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then if possible, you want to use Montauk Chia as the big draw, the golden lotus. Yeah, so you remember, you clench your fist, you clench your feet, and then you clench your buttocks, and then you constantly draw in while your tongue is pushed up at the roof of your mouth, and then you inhale vigorously as you contract. That's the true way to draw it up, the spine.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is my 5x5.
Excellent.
I expect everyone to be Sigma male Chads by the end of listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, this is an 18-plus podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the children.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
We
I
did
keep
the
doing
bit.
callback. Why do I keep doing this? I keep
You're
going
stuck in
like,
the past.
yeah, I am. You know, like, all right, dude. All right, you want to? Hey, this is the first time. This is the first time I think we're gonna go into these topics. Are you ready for this?
Okay, yeah.
Anime.
Oh God.
You ever watch Cowboy Bebop?
I have not. No.
Oh, okay. Well,
There's got to be something you want to talk about.
it's
right?
pretty good.
Okay.
I'm not even done with it, right?
Okay.
But I've always been told that it's like really good and stuff, and so now I'm finally like getting through it. I'm like, oh, you know what? This is pretty good. But there was one part. I was just gonna say a line from it where the one guy was like, "My one eye is from it sees the past," and then someone asked like, "What does your other eye see?" And then it just cuts off. So I was just gonna do that again. But seeing as though you don't know the reference, I can't actually.
No, but we could talk about past, present, and future.
Yes, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw anime. Anyway. And one last thing about the orgy.
Yeah.
You did bring your rugs
Yeah.
and your peanuts.
Yeah. There's plenty of welcome mats left over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody lives in houses anymore.
No, everybody's in bunkers, so. But, no, it's actually really disappointing that there... You know what? I just thought of this. There could have been women, but they just didn't come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
were like, orgy. Pff, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever.
I have heard that women exist in the northern frontier somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, but I think we'd have to venture out, and there's a lot of zombies out there, and I don't have a lot of ammo.
Yeah, no, we've had to seal the door, because last time we went out, I think we're like 3 shells away from not having ammo, so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, laser technology. Yeah. You've been working on that. How's that going?
Yeah, so laser technology has been pretty interesting. I've been modeling all of my simulations off of Star Wars, and I realized that when you have a hit ratio of about 10% as a stormtrooper, that lasers just aren't going to be an effective method to shoot zombies.
That is true. Yeah. Also, in the current year, that technology just doesn't exist.
It's true.
And you keep saying you're working on it, but you're not.
Well, like, it's weird because if you buy Chinese lasers when you could buy them, and you take out all the safety mechanisms that allow the laser to heat up, you can achieve damage.
On who?
But it's like paper, usually.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, all right. You could probably blind someone.
Yeah, you know, I think you could. Assuming that they aren't already zombies and blind anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, the zombies, they're blind.
Yeah.
They've been following whatever the narrative is.
Yeah, they've been following the narrative.
I don't pay attention to the paradigm shift.
I don't either. You know, we're just in this, dude. Every week or whatever frequency we're doing this. Yeah. I don't even know what frequency. I don't even know what day it is. Mm-hmm. You know, we sit down, we start talking about. Anyways, let's talk about the past, present, future. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to that.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm so stuck on this universe we live in, but anyway.
It's honestly, this episode has to be bad, is what our goal is.
I think that's what it is, yeah. It feels that way, doesn't it?
You.
Yeah, it's like we had such a good one. My expectations...
Yeah, are too high.
Yeah.
So you need to lower them with this shitty episode. So yes. I am going to take the reins.
Yeah.
And use every horrible joke I've thought of between this and the last one. And something's going to stick, but most of it probably won't.
Well, you know, people remember the good...
Yeah.
Or the really bad.
Yeah, true.
So as long as we're not in the middle, we're memorable.
Yeah, I don't want to be the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the Goldilocks. Just right isn't for nobody.
So...
Isn't for nobody. It's for everybody now. Okay.
As an aspiring Sigma male, the one thing you want to do is you want to reject modernity and go backwards and look at all of the people in the past that were really strong who you can model your life off of.
Arnold.
You know, I've been a weak man most of my life, but I realize now that I can look up to these people that I can use as role models.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. So, I've been looking at Marcus Aurelius.
Okay, yeah, I know.
The Roman emperor.
Okay.
Who did a bunch of stuff. But more importantly, he wrote the book, The Meditations, which is kind of just like a collection of Stoic philosophy that he meant only for himself.
Gotcha.
And I have this weird feeling when I read it that it's like something important.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe this feeling. It's not deja vu. Mm-hmm. The closest thing I can get to describing it is that, like, It actually, the Rosicrucians, I think, put it pretty well. And that's a group of people that do stuff and believe in a specific thing. Mm-hmm. They're a fraternity that still exists today. In one of their books, they describe this as recovering knowledge from a past life. Mm-hmm. So if you believe in reincarnation and you believe that you've been reincarnated several times, or many, many times, that you are recovering knowledge from a previous life that you lived, and that's why it feels so familiar, or you have this like really weird draw to it.
So my take on that, okay, is that I think that you have more in your DNA than you think you have, because I feel that way fairly often. Then I think about it, I'm like, yeah, but my parents do this thing the same way that I'm doing it right now, and I didn't even really realize it. Mm-hmm. So I think there's more stored data in your DNA than we think that, and you know what I mean?
I agree with you, and I think Carl Jung would agree with you, because one of his beliefs is that the thoughts of your ancestors are coded within you.
Yeah, exactly.
And if that is the case, and we're going to go down that route, I am actually quarter Italian, and there's a chance that people from Italy are descendants of the Roman Empire. Uh-huh. So it could be that one of my descendants had read the Meditations.
Okay.
In some way.
Was related to someone.
Or was related to someone.
Like a child of a child of a child.
Yeah, of a child of a child of a child.
Yeah.
So, and I have this weird draw towards, like, learning, like, Latin. Uh-huh. And, like, other, like, Greek for some reason. Like, I really want to, like, every time I open these books, I glean more of it. And certain things like stumble into my hands in like weird ways that I wouldn't have expected, like knowledge wise, as well as like, you know, it reaffirms my belief that there's someone fucking with me somewhere. Yeah. And if not God, something. Yeah. Because weird shit gets in my hands.
Just all the time.
And it's inexplainable.
Yeah.
Like I went to, and it's not like completely crazy that it's like, that coincidence couldn't explain it away. But it's like a series of events that are just increasingly getting more stupid
Yeah.
as time goes on. Like, they're little things, like I go to a Salvation Army or a Goodwill, I forget which one it was, some sort of thing like that, and there was a bunch of books, and out of all the books, I managed to find someone who had gotten rid of all of their Greek, like, course books. Like, there's a 3-book series for reading and understanding Greek, and I not only got all of them, but I managed to find them all on the shelf, and it was like a huge shelf, and I wasn't looking that particularly at any of it. I just was like, oh, that Greek book looks cool, oh, this one looks cool, oh, this one looks cool, and then I kind of like grabbed them all.
Yeah.
And then there's like weird stuff where like I read things and then like they manifest themselves in reality. Like I read The Dichotomy of Self, which references an essay that called The Hedgehog and the Fox, which it references an old Greek like fable or some sort of idiom or something, where it's the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one thing, and one big thing. And I was starting to, like, in a way, determine whether I was a fox or a hedgehog. And then my girlfriend got me for Christmas a glass hedgehog. Yeah. Just like weird shit like that just happens, and I'm like, somebody is fucking with me. Like, I didn't tell her anything about the hedgehog and fox thing. Yeah, I think I'm a hedgehog. Is what I think I am.
You know, one big thing.
Yeah, I know one, but I don't know what that big thing is.
Yeah.
I just know that my purpose in life, obviously not auto-fillating, but
yeah. Well, it could be
the process, of getting there. There's something.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I actually like that fox and hedgehog. Well, so it makes sense on a lot of weird level. I would say that I'm just as a whatever. I would say I'm a fox just because I branch into so many stupid, dumb, random things, right? But anyway, yeah. I believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
Right. You're on this path. I like this path. I don't know what I'm exactly trying to say, but keep going.
I don't know if... I definitely don't believe in the linear time that we have.
Okay.
And I'm not to get into the conspiracies board stuff, but I do believe that there is a cyclical time. I don't think it's specifically like X amount of years of this or Y amount of years of that, like of peace and then pain and then whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think that civilization over the course of time has risen and it has fallen many times over.
Yeah.
And each time it gets like more destroyed or very destroyed or something. It seems really strange. But I don't know. It seems like it could be, like you said, the coded thoughts of ancestry. It could be that there is reincarnation. Or maybe Kant is right. Kant said something about how just the fact that morality exists proves that the soul is immortal, because why would you be able to make a choice?
Yeah.
He said some other stuff too, but I don't really remember
it. Have I ever told you about my religion?
No, go ahead.
My religion is it's based around karma and reincarnation. Okay, so it's very is that
Hindu?
Yeah, it's very close to that, but it's more specific. Okay, every single time that you die, you turn into a rock, depending on how good or bad you do. If you're a really good person or a really bad person, you're either going to end up on the tallest mountain if you're good, or on the bottom of the ocean if you're bad, right? And the only way to reincarnate again once you're a rock is to get broken open, okay? You obviously have more chances to get broken open on the top of a mountain because we're not looking at the bottom of the ocean, right? But you still have a chance. You can go to a volcano or whatever, right? So realistically, the best way to live your life is kind of somewhere in the middle. And that's just kind of how I don't know. I don't think that people that are always super good, they're good for everybody, they're good for whatever. I don't know. I just don't think that that gets you into the best position.
I agree with you because it's difficult to determine whether there is an objective morality. And I thought originally in one of the last episodes, I think, I'm pretty sure I cut it out, but I was believing in there is some sort of prevailing objective morality, which I think is true amongst many cultures. But I think it's difficult to determine because I just read an article today that talks about how Christianity is potentially harming more people than it saves by meddling in other people's business globally. Like the argument that they had posed, which I thought was pretty interesting, is that by helping third world countries and feeding them, it has caused an increase in the rise of their population. But the problem is that if our society collapses, then all those people starve, because their whole existence is predicated on our existence, or America's Christian.
Yeah.
The idea that nobody can die, or you want to save everyone, that Christian ethic.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like every action has consequences, right?
Yeah.
And you could see an action and be like, this is good all around. But in reality, if you were to talk to a few people, they would probably agree with you. But maybe someone down the line at some point would be like, maybe that's not a good idea. This is kind of, I don't know. I always feel as though everybody's opinions are different for a reason, and it makes life interesting, first of all. Second of all, it kind of means that everything's mucky, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's ever true or false unless it's like 2 + 2, right? Math and history are the only things that are like 100% defined. So
I would say, and that's funny because that almost goes down the relativism path, which is something I try to avoid. If anything, like there's a prevailing problem with even biblical literalism. It's people taking the Bible literally rather than the spirit of what it says. And I think that's true for a lot of stuff. It's more about linguistically and semantically how those things are. It's arguments about the semantics rather than the spirit of what they're saying. And one of it, as well as I think a really good phrase here when it comes to determining morality is, it's funny to me, is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That phrase. Like there is always like a negative counterbalancing thing for every positive action. But I think in the spirit of understanding what all these old philosophers were going for, and to finally worm my way back to the original topic, Marcus Aurelius talks about past, present, and future. And he says that man does not have past and he does not have future. The only thing he has is present, which makes sense. As well as the Stoic ideology is to only contribute your attention to what you can control. And everything that is out of your control, you should not contribute attention to it because you can't control it. So you just have to radically accept that those things are going to happen. The only thing that you can truly change, that's what you should be focusing on. And then what you can partially control, you can use whatever leftover stuff you have from what you can control, the attention, to what you can partially control. And I think that's a really good ideology to live by.
That is basically my idea. So like, you've kind of said exactly what my ideology is, which is everybody has their own garden in their own backyard. You got to make your garden good to help other people's gardens. If you have a bad garden and you try to help someone else's garden, you're just going to screw up their garden, right? Once you have a good garden, you can help your neighbors' gardens, which your neighbors in this metaphor would be like your friends, your family, whatever. And you can keep branching out until you feel as though, you can only help so many gardens at once, right? You can only help so many people and, bring the quality of their garden up better. They can get better tomatoes. Like if you're an expert tomato grower and I'm bad at growing tomatoes, I can ask you for tomato advice. This is just really like out of the way, but it's just like a really dumb way.
You're saying, I understand the sentiment of that you want to be altruistic to your neighbors.
To the people that I surround myself with.
That you surround yourself with. So there is a vetting process. I mean, obviously you're not going to just help anyone.
Not just going to move into a neighborhood.
You're not just going to move into a neighborhood
You're
and
gonna
help
be like,
anyone.
What kind of... We got any...
Your tomatoes look like they suck. I'll help you.
Nobody around here...
They didn't ask for that help.
Yeah.
And they don't need it.
They don't want that help.
And by relying on you,
yeah,
then if you fail, then they'll suffer even more.
Exactly. If I have garbage tomatoes and I try to tell you how to grow tomatoes, you're not going to be able to grow tomatoes, right? So, and you can get online help with your tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's not as good as having someone come over and help your tomatoes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of resources, even in this post-apocalyptic world.
Well, we don't have any tomatoes.
Yeah.
We have canned.
Yeah, I
Those
find them in the
tomatoes.
sewer sometimes floating around.
What? Tomatoes?
Yeah,
I wouldn't eat those.
they're canned.
Oh, okay, it's in
Yeah.
the. All right, I thought you were just finding like
No.
whole tomatoes.
No,
like,
the rats will be carrying something, but
yeah. Well, you know, I saw the rats with a backpack the other day.
oh, really, they're that advanced now.
Yeah. Well, so no, they were like delivering it or something. I don't
Oh.
know. Maybe someone's trained the rats.
Yeah, hey, that maybe
What's that? There's like
the
a
Pied Piper.
Pied Piper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe someone's over there.
I haven't
blowing
heard
a
any
little flute.
fluting anywhere in the sewers, so we'll
Well,
see.
a modern take on the Pied Piper would be using like a dog whistle.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
It's
It'd be
true.
stealthy,
Yeah.
but we wouldn't hear it.
Yeah, maybe it's a different frequency that only rats can hear.
That's true. Yeah. Or maybe, well, if rats could hear, then we could assume dogs could hear.
That's true.
So maybe they can also control dogs.
We have more things to be worried about. Than the person thought.
Anyway, inside of that backpack was a video game device.
Okay.
It was a PC.
Okay.
On that PC, I found a Linux copy of Factorio.
Oh, how's that?
I have been grinding it, grinding. I built my factory. And let me tell you, I burn out. I've played this game before.
Yeah.
Before the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And now I burn out in the same spot every single time, and it's so hard to continue. But you know, maybe no one listening knows, but there's a point at which you get these drones, okay, and the drones require technology, and they require you to build a lot of stuff. And it's supposed to make your life easier, but I always find it harder, and so I burn out right there every single time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Did you feel that burn whenever you played it?
You know, I don't know what the progression for this game is supposed to look like, but I'm pretty sure I went from like basic technology to like cars, and then we went to drones, and then we did trains after. So I wasn't burnt out because trains like were a great way to move a ton of resources at once.
Yeah.
And so the drones were just like helping you move a bunch of tiny resources, like short distances.
Yeah.
But then once we got those distances covered, it was more about the trains, and then I wasn't burnt out.
I think that I don't know what the right way is because I went trains first. And that made me, because I ran out of materials. So I had to have trains, otherwise it doesn't work, right? So, I don't know. But I've been playing that. I just wanted to I just wanted to bring that up. Because I've noticed this. I have like 4 save files pretty much burnt out at the same exact point.
Have you been playing with anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, my fiance.
Oh.
She's out there. I don't know where, but I found her on the Linux
Oh.
Connect system.
Yeah, I guess she just doesn't want to come to the sewer.
I don't think she could make it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like...
There's a lot of rats in between here and there.
Yeah, and I mean, whenever the whole thing happened, right, she was in Timbuktu, out in the middle of nowhere, and so, but apparently she has a PC, so...
There you go.
Yeah, and an internet connection.
It all happens for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So, I've been going down this path of seeing things happen, like, in a row. Like, I'm working in a factory. I go home, and what do I see on the front page of Steam? Factorio. I was just in a factory. Like, is somebody playing tricks on me?
That's true. Maybe your ultimate purpose is to just work to consume. Maybe they want you to think that working is fun. And then you go and play a game that's working, and you're still having fun. But you're just wasting your time in a factory, both a real physical factory and a digital factory.
You know, it's weird because you say that because I've been playing Forklift Simulator 2020.
Have you actually?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say, holy shit. This would be like literally what every technocrat wants the end goal for all the peons is to just not only like work for a pittance, but to also go home and continue to just fucking waste time doing dumb, useless, meager shit for no. If they're not thinking and they're occupied with Forklift Simulator 2020, that's better for them.
Yeah. Well, so this is where my way of thinking doesn't really work. Because if I'm only focused on mine, the people who control other people, they have a really big garden system.
It's true.
And I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it there. But actually, they're supplying the water.
Yeah.
Or you get it. But, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe the only true way to escape the cycle is to start thinking outside the box. Maybe you gotta go and get some stones and then wrap some copper around them and then heat those up to better align your magnetism. Yeah.
My coils.
Yeah, your coils. Hey, bro, I'm not knocking it. A couple years ago, I wouldn't have even believed that maybe the soul exists, but now I'm starting to think it does. So
really,
yeah, maybe
you didn't believe in souls before.
I never thought I would, but I'm starting to believe. And it's weird because not only do I realize I have this draw towards Greeks and the Romans and old stuff, and I have this constant curiosity to like go and search out information.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm at the point where I know one big thing. I feel like I'm in a thread of a million things, and they all interconnect, and I see that faint interconnection. But I recently came down with a terminal illness when I was trying to determine the shadow of myself, trying to fracture the persona that I outwardly show everyone else and come closer to the shadow in my body. And I realize that the shadow in my body, the reason I have such difficulty reconciling with it is because I'm actually a big black man in a white man's body. It's a transgression. So...
yeah. I don't think that mixes with your Greekness.
Yeah, I don't think
I'll be
so
honest
either.
with you.
Yeah.
I mean, so
it's hard to reckon. And I've been worried lately that the real problem is that the guilt I have from being a white person has fractured and divided myself into multiple egos. And one of those is a big black man in a white man's body.
Wait a second. Yeah. Dude, you read that twice on the script.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the second.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, we can fix it in post.
Yeah, we'll just fix it in post.
Yeah,
we'll sorry.
Okay. Do you want to continue?
Yeah, so the doctor, I went to the doctor about this to see if they had some sort of like pills to deal with it. Because I realize it's a real difficult problem to be able to reconcile these completely different racial identities within one person. And
you just keep going.
It's really hard. But I have been noticing that there's like some distinct things about this personality that's different from my personality. I mean, not only am I also a big white man in a white man's body, it's a true disgrace, but I also have like these weird echoes of like different personalities that exist alongside that one. Sometimes when I feel like belting out a chord, there's also like a follow of like backup singers that also add to it as well. And I realize that these backup singers, not only do they echo my sentiments, but they make my overall feelings stronger than they were before. And I have this weird draw towards like women for some reason, because not only am I a big black man but I also simultaneously I feel like I just have to personify these images in my head into tangible things that I can sing about. Like, I'm walking down the street and there's a big ass woman like an hourglass and I've been hey to you. And I know, and it's like, it's hard because sometimes I just feel the Lord in my head. Oh, he feels the Lord. So, the doctor said it's terminal. here, but
I don't know how you got here either.
I felt this, and I needed I had a compulsion.
You needed to escape it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
You know, I don't usually. I don't get those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm kind of jealous in a way.
And the difficulty is that when you're not auto-fillating and you're semen retaining, there's an anxiety that develops within you.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to face it head on.
Yeah.
Because not only are you more anxious, but your body that has been using these sexual urges and this expulsion of energy to cope, it's essentially been reducing you to below your threshold, and you've been using it to cope against everything. You've used pornography as a way to cope against everything because you want these feelings of intimacy, but they're not real. They're fake. None of those women want to have sex with you. They just want to use you as the pay pig you are and to extract money from you.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that pornography is the propaganda tool that's keeping you down.
Yeah.
But in having this anxiety, I realize that I have to take head on all the things that are internally within me. And I have anxiety because my brain finally has a moment to wake up and tell me, you got to do something with your life.
Yeah.
You only have as much time as you're allotted, and it's finite. You can't live anyone else's life unless you're Bill Gates and you can transfer brains with a child. But without that, and without that money, you're going to be stuck being a big black man in a white man's body. It's a disgrace.
Yeah. You know, I was going to ask you before that exact moment that just happened. I was going to ask you, what was the first time you realized that you only have, because that you have like a limited amount of time to do things?
I realized it like 4 weeks ago. For my whole life, I have been getting more and more anxious as I got older.
Uh-huh.
I went through different waves. I've had anxiety. I don't know how to deal with nervousness and stuff like that. I don't really think, I have been trying to focus on my life and to also have an outlet for my creativity in a way that sustains my ability to live within this technocracy that we live in. But I also know that several weeks ago when I read the opening first book of the meditations, there's a way in which he explains it. The begin every morning and face everything that you have to face because you only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And I think in reading that and hearing it, not only in my head, but also seeing it physically on the pages sort of woke me up a little bit.
Yeah.
And, since I read that, I have not been getting good enough sleep. I think I sleep about 6 hours a day. I wake up after 6 hours all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're supposed to have 8.
No.
But
once you get, I noticed this too, because, we're both getting older, right? So, since I've been, working, hardcore, actually working for, the last 4 years, I've noticed that, I'll get 5-6 hours of sleep, and then, on a day off, I'll sleep, 8, and that'll get me all caught up.
Mm-hmm. That's actually interesting. I wonder, I'm not sure if sleep can function kind of like a bank, where you can keep pulling out and get in debt and then make it up later.
I think to a point, right? Because, let's just say we start on a Monday, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say I get 6 hours of sleep Monday and then 5 the rest of the week till Friday.
Mm-hmm.
By, Thursday will be my most tired, and I'll go to bed early Thursday, wake up Friday, and be, kind of tired still, but not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So...
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There is some recovery, but...
Yeah, I think, my body knows that it needs a certain amount, but, at the same time, I only have so many hours outside of forced labor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, it's not really, doing my job, to actually, live life in quotation marks, so...
What do you feel like your ultimate purpose in life is? Do you feel like you figured it out, or what?
I like to pretend that I have. I like to kind of tell people that, I don't really tell people. I just like to pretend that I have, something figured out. And what I do is I just kind of go like, I have this figured out, so you guys can figure it out too. Because I think that other people can look and see someone going like, oh, I have stuff figured out, and then they can figure themselves out.
Yeah, it's kind of like you learn. I feel like in a way it's just like you look at other people who are successful and then try to figure out, like maybe take what information works for you from what they've said.
Yeah.
To do that.
So
what do you feel like? I mean, is what you're saying that you feel like you have things figured out for the moment?
I feel as though I just want to live a eventful, fun-ish life where I can bring myself, people around me, to a point where we can all be happy and just live and die and let the next generation kind of figure it out, but they can see like, oh, this is how you could have had, this is where you can have fun or whatever. I don't know. I feel as though my whole life's goal is to gain knowledge passed on to the next generation. You know, breaking it down to the simplest forms, right? And to live like a happy life. I don't want to suffer. Nobody wants to, right?
Well, actually, I want to suffer.
Yes, but why do you want to suffer?
Well, I've been reading a lot about different religions and stuff like that, and I think Buddhism describes this perfectly. It's that happiness is something you can't really attain because it'll only be happiness for a moment because everything's impermanent, and change is something that's constant. Like time constantly happens. Like you'll have moments of happiness, but they'll also be followed by moments of sadness.
Yes.
But you wouldn't really even feel happy if it wasn't for sadness to compare it to. So in a way, I'm not sure if happiness is the goal of life. I think suffering is the goal of life.
So I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I enjoy suffering. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I love pushing myself to do like really hard things and actually completing them because the payoff is I completed that really hard thing and that makes me feel good. That gives my brain chemicals.
Yeah, the dopamine.
So I think that all suffering eventually leads to a happy point. So I think we're talking about the same exact thing.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is that after this podcast, you're going to go back to that computer you found in the backpack and finish all 4 of those saves for Factorio.
Wow.
Because you got bored and were suffering, but now you realize that the true payoff is finishing those.
Yes, because do you know what's funny? I don't feel satisfied from playing the game for like 16 hours or so, let's say. I don't know how much it actually is, but like I've added 16 hours to the account and I'm like I'm just at a point where it's just so like frustrating to move on that I do need to just do it and just buckle down and do it, but my brain's like, but there's so much. You could just do anything else.
You could just anything.
Anything else.
You could
other
start
than
a new save.
I could, and then redo everything so I have more room.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right?
You know, I was watching a video that was talking about strategies for like gaining focus and stuff like that, and just ways to improve your life and things. And one of the things he said was he quoted Mark Twain, which was, I don't know what the exact quote was, but his paraphrasing of it was that if you have to eat the frog, eat it, make it the first thing you do in the day. Yeah. Because if you have to eat a frog every day, then tomorrow you're going to have 2 frogs, and you're going to want to do it even less than if you just ate the frog the first day right in the morning. Yeah. So I definitely agree with the philosophy of the first thing you need to do in the morning is the thing you least want to do. Yeah. Because if you can accomplish that, then everything else comes easy.
Somebody else has, I mean, that's been like, I've heard that 7 different ways from like a million different people. Yeah. And I do feel as though I live by that. So like right now, I since I'm contract work, right, I don't have a job currently. Yeah. Right? Or, well, I'm not currently working on a job. I have one or whatever. So like today, for instance, I didn't have anything to do. So the first thing I did was I had to run to the post office. Well, I didn't have any work to do. First thing I did was run to the post office and like, well, I drank coffee and I sent out mail and all that junk, and then I went and got new tires and I always pack all my junk in the front of the day. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm already living that, dude.
That's true. Maybe something that I just needed to hear at that specific moment in time.
You're gonna remember post office.
Yeah.
At some point in like 2 years.
It's true.
You're gonna remember this exact conversation. You're gonna be like, he talked about the post office. That was the post office. It all makes sense.
Finally.
Yeah. And then you're going to go get a job at the post office or something. You're going to be a postal worker. You know? Those people seem happy.
You know what? You know what people don't like, but that they won't admit that they like, but they actually like?
What?
It's change. And I think we should venture out and change the setting that we exist in.
I agree.
Okay.
But it's scary.
It is scary. And it's something that you really just have to put the first foot forward and just see where it takes you.
I think that changing things is just a way of progress.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Right? Because standing still doesn't give you any progress. Doesn't do anything.
No.
Me not playing Factorio again doesn't progress me anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, it might. I mean, if you don't spend the time playing Factorio.
In Factorio.
You could be doing that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that.
You could your brain could be getting dopamine from something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is that progress?
Who knows?
Or am I just...
Are you... Yeah.
Cooming.
You could be... Yeah, maybe
I'm a coomer.
If you're not playing video games and your next best thing would be cooming.
Well, I was saying I'm cooming off of the video game. Like, I'm getting the dopamine in my brain one way or the other. So, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because you could be like pushing walls.
I
push-pull.
Should have.
Yeah.
I did work out, right, today.
Yeah.
Which I haven't been since it was December.
Mm-hmm.
December is the month of giving up and just letting the wall of things to do push you over. For me.
Because the new stress happens, right?
It's, you gotta get gifts.
Yeah.
You gotta go to all these events. My family does like 50 million events.
Oh, man.
I enjoy them, but I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole time, my work gets really busy.
Mm-hmm.
All of December, right? So, should we go into that a little bit?
If you want to.
Family events? Or do you want to get out of our setting?
Well, if you can talk about the family events, and the setting will find its new way to us eventually.
So let's go into the new setting.
Okay.
My family making Kilbasa.
Okay.
All right? I come from a family. We live in America, in case you couldn't tell by our accents.
Yeah.
We could have been Canadian.
I don't have a very convincing British accent at all.
No.
I'm not even sure I could do
one.
one.
You actually don't. I will. I've heard it before.
Everyone makes fun of me for it. One day I'm going to learn it, and y'all are going to be fucking surprised. But right now, no.
Yeah, I don't think mine's very good either.
Yeah.
But it's fine. So, live in America. My family, we are Polish descent. My grandpa's parents were from Poland, right? My grandpa's and grandma's parents on one side of my family were from Poland. The other side came from France, from the same generation, and then they figured it out, and now, I'm born, right? And so my family's fairly big, and every single year, twice a year, for Christmas and for Easter, we make Kilbasa and pierogies, like good fat Polish people.
Okay.
So, what do you want to hear first? This is a choose your own adventure.
Okay.
What do you want? You want pierogies or Kilbasa? Because they happen on two separate days.
Let's start with Kilbasa.
Okay, Kilbasa. Do you want me to tell you the recipe for Kilbasa?
Yeah, do it. Why not?
Turn to page 264.
Okay, of my book.
Of our book. What? Oh, yeah. Actually, wait. Sorry. It's on page 8 of the script, if you got...
Oh.
If that's what you were saying, the book.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway. So basically, in order to make some Kilbasa, okay? First thing you got to do is you got to find some pig organs, okay? You need a good... Or, what is that? Large intestine?
Yeah.
Yeah. For your casing. Okay, that's the first part. So you got to go to a Polish store. You got to get some casings, right? You soak those in water, so that way they get expanded a little bit and they're usable. Then what you do, all right, is you got to go get your meat. We use pork butt completely. You chop it off. You chop off some of the fat. I secretly left more fat than usual in, and it tasted way better, but no one knows that. So I'm going to keep that to myself and to the internet. Okay. So then you put marjoram, garlic, salt and pepper, and then you kind of just put it into a big pot all cut up in chunks, and you stir it with your hands. And it's really cold because the meat's cold, and then you pour in water on top of that. On top of that, you have to be at least 4 or 5 shots of Crown Royal in. Okay. So your hands are numb, you're drunk, and you're just stirring up some kielbasa. Okay? Then you take that whole handful and you stuff it inside of a grinder. You grind it out into the casing, and there you go, kielbasa.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually, that is both simpler and not what I expected.
Really? What did you expect?
I don't know.
A story?
Yeah.
With like a beginning, middle, and end?
Maybe.
Not just a kielbasa recipe?
It could have been. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah.
I've told my co-host here about this before, but I'm terrible at telling stories. In my brain, I can only pull out, like, I imagine it. This is how I imagine me getting things from my brain. I pull out a file of a filing cabinet. It has fragments of parts of things that I want to say, and I go like, okay, let me go check the other filing cabinet. It takes me a really long time to grab the rest of the paragraph. So I just have to Mad Lib or whatever in between and make it the rest, No,
I understand that. I mean, for me, it's kind of similar. Rather than like a visual image of myself grabbing a file, it just appears from darkness. When I talk to you, I don't have any visualization of any words or anything.
I'm not visualizing anything. Okay. I'm just describing how it feels my brain is processing things.
Yeah, I feel like the more that I spend time meditating, I get closer and closer to having like some sort of consistency with my opinions. Yeah. If I meditate on something and I think about it for a really long time and I like have conversations in my head about it, I have a way more developed opinion than just something that comes off the top of nothing.
Yes. So that's kind of weird, right? Because I feel as though you could call me out if I'm completely lying, but I feel as though I'm fairly consistent with like things that I think of or agree on or disagree on or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I feel it's not that I feel like everything in my life has been changing. Yeah. I feel like things I did believe back then, I don't believe now. And obviously, just as you're getting older, you think and contemplate more about stuff. But as I read about specific topics, I'm like carving down the opinion that I feel, or what everything I read is a new block of marble that I can carve an opinion into.
Oh, see, I was about to make the same exact like metaphor. But I was going to say that you have a block of granite or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And every single time you read a new article, that makes you hit the chisel like a few more times. Yeah. And that brings you closer to a statue of an opinion.
Yeah, something cohesive.
Yes.
But I also know that there is a lot of value in once you learn stuff to unlearn it.
Yes.
Like I understand that like as you get older, you're going to have a bunch of preconceived notions about the way the world works.
Yes.
And those aren't necessarily going to be true.
Yeah.
They're just going to be things that you've developed as, like, strategies, coping mechanisms, or summaries of the world from a point of view that you had when you were young.
Yeah. This is something that I talk about my parents probably too much or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially on the podcast.
I said as like you do talk about your parents, but not a as in too much. I don't think it's too much.
No, I think it's just, I like them a lot, I think, right? And so, but anyway, I was talking to my dad the other day.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, he went on this, like, I was just going to go meet him because I left some dishes at my parents' house, right? So I was like, oh, hey, I can get those back from you tomorrow or whatever. He's like, oh, okay, I'll meet you. So, like, he's late to the time that we said we were going to meet because I have other stuff to do. So I call him and he's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm on my way, but man, you know what? I was reading this morning the coronavirus, and like he started going off on all this stuff, and he's like, you can't trust any evidence, you can't like do any of this because like there's no good way of anything." And I'm like, "Yeah, I already agree with all of this." And he's like, "Your whole generation, I don't know what you guys are thinking." I'm like, I'm thinking exactly what you're saying. Like, basically, like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what point I was trying to get out of that. But
I think the point is that it feels like you aren't having a conversation because a lot of it is just like confirming beliefs or like reaffirming beliefs.
kind
Maybe.
of. Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, it's just...
You
I
feel
had a
like you're
point.
being pigeonholed
No.
as an entire generation rather than who you are.
Yeah, somewhat. Because I have cousins and family who disagree with his whatever. But, like, the weird thing about his viewpoints every single time that we talk about them is that he never has an opinionated side. And I feel the same way, even though I have opinions on things. Whenever someone brings something up, I'm more than ready to throw out my granite statue and start chiseling a new one. Or have two.
Yeah.
And just kind of be like, which one's better?
So do you feel like the difficulty then is that, I mean, it sounds like you have the ability to accept alternate opinions. So it doesn't sound like you're stuck in any particular
Yes.
problem.
Something that frustrates me a lot is when someone is stuck in a particular whatever. They're okay with their granite statue and they're never throwing it away. It has dust all over it. Or maybe it's brand new, but they're really, really for this statue. Whereas I feel like most people could learn more and be people could be better if they just hear the other side. Something that I've been wanting to bring up since the beginning of the podcast. This is real now. Okay. We're about to talk about something real. The famous celebrity, Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I heard, I've known him from meme culture, right? He's like turning the frogs gay. You're making like YouTube poops about him and stuff. You know what I mean? People are making jokes about this guy all the time. So I decided to do my own research because I heard that he was right on a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I look it up and I'm like, what is this Bohemian Grove? Okay, and this brings me down the Bohemian Grove rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's weird.
Yeah,
and it's weird that he showed up and no one makes a big deal about the fact that he went there, watched them like sacrifice something or whatever, and then like everybody's like, yeah, he's an insane weirdo. I don't know.
Same thing with the frogs being gay. There's actually a bunch of evidence to support that the frogs...
They're hermaphrodite.
There are changing because of maybe pesticides or runoff from farm fields or something. They're changing in a way they shouldn't be. It's aberrant, like abnormal.
Now, what brought on that opinion? I don't know. And if you do a Google search of, this is exactly what I searched. What Alex Jones was correct about. Nothing comes up. You have to do your own whatever. You might be able to find a Reddit post or something that like someone's like, oh, he was right about that, and like it's buried. Why is that so buried? Why is this guy who was able to prove some things right but had some bad opinions or bad whatevers, so whatever? I don't know. It's just a wacky...
I suppose it goes to... I will say that I consider more opinions now than I ever did, but I am very stubborn on some very specific marble statues I have. And I think that one of them that might just be genetics for me is that anything that is censored or silenced, that is the thing I need to look at. It's not the things that are out and overt and that they're trying to push you to do. Like if something is really heavily incentivized or there's like a mass amount of people doing it,
there's some
like
negative.
There has to be. I mean, there has to be something wrong with it. Like for me, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why I have this feeling, but every time that happens, I'm always like, I don't believe it. Yeah. And I am stuck with this thought of I don't believe it. And then I do find a ton of information for both sides. Yeah. But it always comes down to that I believe the side that is most pushed and out in the open is bullshit.
Yes. I always believe that The censored one, that there's a reason for this being censored.
Yeah, it has more
right?
credibility by being censored.
In a way, sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? But there's also certain, like, censored information. I don't believe in protecting people from misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you should have all the information out, and people should be able to make up their own.
Yeah, because if it's in the public discourse, then it either lives or dies on whether or not it's truth.
Yeah.
But if you can't even see it and you can't even consider it, then you're not even giving people the opportunity to think for themselves.
But
yeah,
I think the issue with whenever it comes to like that kind of stuff is that people don't trust people to make their own opinions, and some people just don't want to make their own opinion. They just want to live life, and they want to hear one thing and go like, "That's what I believe."
Yeah, I do recognize that there, and depending on if you believe in Gnosticism, I think that's how you say it, or Hermeticism. It's an older religion. Praise the sun god.
Cool.
Before Christianity and the Roman Empire, I believe. I don't know. I got to do more research, so if I'm wrong, don't take my word for it. But they had this belief that there are 3 spirits that inhabit the body. There are the Hylics, which are people that don't have any opinions at all. They're kind of just like the masses. Then there's the Psychics, which are people that with enough effort can see the truth, but they have to overcome like themselves first. And then there's the Pneumatics, which are spirits that are meant to preach the truth, and they can see like what the truth is essentially inherently.
Yeah.
It's kind of like masses, potential leaders spirituality thing. And I do believe that in a way there are people that just want to confirm bias and continue along their pre-programming in a weird way.
Yeah, they just want to focus on whatever.
They're like NPCs.
Yes.
They're like gray
in our world, and you can tell when someone's an NPC.
Yeah.
You can kind of like walk up and like they're not.
And the most pervasive thing I realize is that I forget who said it, but it was that if you don't think, somebody else will think for you. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's if you aren't consciously considering things and thinking for yourself or considering all information. I mean, it's not to say that you have to spend all your time going for truth. I mean, everybody has their own purpose in life, but and you'll figure out what it is over time. Maybe it is auto-fillating or trying to make people laugh by pretending to be a black man trapped in a white man's body. But it's something regardless. But I don't know what it is. It just is.
Do you think? So this was I have another list, by the way.
Okay, I figured you would get to the list at some point.
Well, but I mean, what are we at right now?
We got 8 minutes till we reach our 1:30 mark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We usually do 1:30.
Yeah, I noticed that the last one was 1:29 or something. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we don't even have to go through the list. But I wanted to ask you about, because this kind of goes into everything. What do you think of psychedelic drugs?
I haven't done psychedelic drugs.
Neither have I.
What do you just mean, like my opinion on them, or
what do you think? Do you think that can help someone reach a different plane of understanding?
I think that it's difficult because I feel like you have to take these drugs with a purpose. Yeah. I feel like you have to go into it with some sort of, because if you just use it to escape reality or you use it to like cope with something, then it just becomes a bad habit or like a nasty way of trying to deal. It's the same thing with weed too. Yeah. Like it becomes something that overrides the dopamine in your brain and affects it in a very specific way. Yeah. And I'm sure that works well for some people. I believe in self-medication. I believe every drug should just be available so that you can buy it at your own whim. But I obviously know that if we believe that there are a bunch of Hylics out there, that it might be more of a detriment to society than helping it to have so much freedom. So I understand that.
I think that like even if you had all drugs available, you'd have to educate everyone. Like just, I don't know. I think there's obvious signs whenever someone's like addicted to something. Like weed's not addictive. It doesn't have an addictive chemical to it, but people can become addicted to chewing their toenails.
I mean, the whole idea of like the weed bro stereotype exists because in some way it is an addiction. I mean, even if there's not addicting chemicals, like there are people in your life that you look at and you just like a word that describes them is like weed. Yeah. Like they don't, their personality their identity becomes weed.
Yeah.
Same thing for like, you know, any sort of politics. Like your identity just becomes politics, or whatever side you're on, whatever fractured like slice of the pie that you believe in. Yeah. Like that will become your identity.
It always feels like people that have those like one word identities, right? They always there's something else that's bothering them, right? Which is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? There's something else going on where like they don't even want to focus on their own life. They're like, this is way better.
I would also say that I think it has to do a lot with like I've read about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in that once you're like food, water, and shelter are secured and you have met some other things on the pyramid of self-sufficiency, then identity becomes a big one. Like if you don't have to worry about food, water, and shelter, then you have time to focus on identity. But I think a lot of it is misplaced. I think a lot of these people try to find... I think naturally with men specifically, there is a need for brotherhood and fraternity.
Yeah.
And I believe that gets taken advantage of with like pyramid schemes, multi-level marketing, brotherhoods that you pay $100 a month for to learn some secret and be with the bros, something. Yeah. Like there are people that make money off of taking advantage of these fraternities that people... and I think naturally everybody just has a proclivity to community in some way.
Yeah.
They need community. They need socialization.
I mean, humans as a species, right? We've gotten as far as we have now just off of the fact that we build communities and that we socialize and stuff, right? So it's natural to like want those things because that's how we've lived, you know. So
yeah, I agree with that.
I just wanted to say something smart, or that seems smart, really quick.
Hey, that's a great way to finish it. I think we need to finish it with something dumb, though.
Oh.
So.
Well, would you look at that, dude? It's a beautiful day outside of the bunker.
Yeah, wow. It's almost like the sun, this manifestation of male heaven energy, the yang, is filling me up from the inside out. And, you know, the only way I think I can truly cultivate it is from using the knowledge that I've gained from Montauk Chia's Cultivating the Male Esoteric Sex Kung Fu, in that I need to get naked and prop my testicles up to the sun, because that is the best possible angle that I can absorb this yang energy, the heavenly male yang energy.
I'm just going to watch, I guess. I mean, this is going to be a sight to behold. I mean, is this going to summon MODOK? Or?
Yeah, well, I'm going to do multiple things. And
describe them as you do them.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down after getting naked.
Your balls are out.
Yep. And then good. I'm going to prop my butt and my hips on my arms and spread my legs in a Y position. Wow. And then I'm going to channel the inner shadow of my body to better receive this heavenly gift.
Folks, he's glowing right now.
Because I'm a big black man in a white man's body pointing towards the sun.